What is up, guys, and welcome to another episode of my HLTV. Today we are looking at Blast Premier Spring Final 20. I'll first show how I did in the last stage. Unfortunately, not so well. Eternal Fire and Heroic really doing poorly. Some surprising names such as NIP getting further in the tournament than one would have expected. Astralis got to top 4, so pretty decent points here for the cheap guys. But NIP and Mongols played in the finals. Right now, Mongols just won the final. Not sure if those points are updated here, but either way, it's just 2 points. Essentially, that means that I can't get any kind of good result in terms of top 10. I don't think that's even possible anymore. I'm not sure if this has actually. Yeah, it seems to go the +2. So yeah, I don't think it's even possible, but it's still possible to get like a 100-ish to 100 even result. Either way, what I'm gonna go for here is a bit more risky for this last event. The last event of the season can often be a bit of a place where upsets happen, and also I think now that I can't get top 10, I also wanna maybe go for that top 3 in the event, maybe get reward, or just boosting my own enjoyment of the game. So like picking teams like Navi, who I'm a fan of, might be on the table here. But I'll also tell you like who I think is the best teams. 8 teams in 2 groups, and the whole tournament is one event. I still think FaZe is pretty good. Like if I was playing regular fantasy here, if I was still playing for the leaderboard, if you will, I would probably go double FaZe, even though they were kind of poor in the last tournament they played. They have one of the easiest matchups, early matchups that they can. Whereas on the other side of Group A, Navi and Astralis, I think it's a pretty close one. Maybe Astralis is slightly favored to be. I don't know. I don't even think that's the case. I think it's gonna be a tight one between Navi and Astralis. Could go either way. But yeah, because of that, I would say FaZe definitely make upper final. And that means they definitely qualify at least semis if they beat So, which is like kind of crazy just for winning one game. But I'm gonna bet on the fact that Navi go on and beat Astralis just for my own enjoyment. In Group B, I would say Vitality should beat VP. By the way, I have no clue why this happens. I think it might be my browser choice. Like I use Firefox. I don't know if it can't handle the team logos of some. Like I noticed this some weeks ago that I think they just updated their logos on HLTV, both VP and Fnatic, or at least the image got updated, and it clearly doesn't work. I've tweeted this a couple times at HLTV, but doesn't seem like that's been fixed. Like most logos are just fine. I think it has to be something to do with a specific image format that Firefox, because I don't think everyone has this. Otherwise, they would have fixed it already. Okay, but that's completely besides the point. I would say Vitality should beat E. Yeah, nothing more to say to that. We haven't seen VP very good yet. They're decent, but not that great. Whereas Vitality actually is pretty consistently very good. They don't always win the events, or rarely even win. Yeah, I still think they are by far stronger than VP. Then Spirit versus G2, like if this was it's so weird because before Dallas I would have definitely said Spirit, but then Spirit haven't shown up to that high of a level as they first showed in a while now, and then G2 won with a stand-in as 2v2k was instead of 3. But now apparently they might have to have a stand-in for Monacy for this event, and apparently that's going to be Taz. And I mean, honestly, on paper, that should be the easiest to win Spirit ever get. I don't think this G2 lineup can work without Monacy. like I think they rely on Monesi. And I mean, task for Monesi, bringing in your coach for Monesi, gonna work. And I would say Spirit definitely should be the favorites here. So if I was going for a regular lineup, I think FaZe and Spirit would be my 2 picks. I think they are pretty safe in terms of getting straight to the uppers, and that means that they should get to the single elimination bracket as well. Hopefully they would win their second game. But because I want to take some risks here, I'm gonna ignore FaZe. At least in terms of doubling up. I'm gonna double up on Vitality, because I think they also should get to upper finals. And I'm gonna gamble on Avi. So the players I'm looking at from these teams, I think I'm probably going towards Saiwu, because the probability is that I can go for Alexi B from Navi. But I think it's the kind of player who, when Navi don't do that hot, he's gonna have something like these really poor ratings, but then can also get those 1.0 rating ish situations. Guys in the, you can see here the most big players: Harrigan, Apex, Chopper, Alexi B. Props makes it as well. Very FaZe centric actually, so a lot of people realizing that they're probably gonna beat Soul, which is fair enough. By the way, I'll mention this now before I get into the actual picking of teams, but I'm probably gonna be making a video about in the off season about what I would like to have changed about HLTV Fantasy going into the next season. I'll be making, I don't know how many points, however many points I can come up with in terms of changes that would make this game more interesting to play, because I think there's a lot of potential here. I think it's already very good, but I think there's definitely some changes I would make that would make it more interesting. And I think this, I'll give you a sneak preview, like a sneaky preview. One of the problems I think is this, that 4 of the top 8 most picked players here are IGLs. And this is not like an outlier event. I think I've seen way worse examples of this, where there's a lot of IGLs in the most players. Like I think even 6 in one event in the top 8 most players, which is completely ridiculous to me. So that's one thing. But we'll get to that in that video once this season is over. I have some time to plan out that video, and I'll make it in the off season. So I think Alexi B is making it hard for me, just in terms of enjoyment as well. Cheering for my countrymen should be fun. I think everyone else on this team pretty great as a potential pick. Or what the ratings are, like what time period. But I can see any one of these players popping off in an event like this and being like well worth the money. That's one of the reasons also why I want to gamble on Navi. If they were like Bit 210, JL 208, if everyone was like 5k more expensive, I probably wouldn't go for them. But they are very affordable in this event. But I'll leave the choice of second Navi player for later. I think the bigger question is like, if I go for Zaiwu, who do I pair him up with? I think it's Apex. I don't think Mezzi is as good of a pick. He was very good in the last tournament at Dallas. But I think in general, we've seen Apex and Mezzi play to a very similar level a lot of the time. I would say Mezzi has higher potential, I guess, but still. They've been generally very similar at price. I think Mezzi going into Dallas may have been cheaper than Apex, and now Apex is quite significantly cheaper than Mezzi going to this, so I think Apex just makes more sense. Then it's kind of about the 5th. I think personally, honestly, if I was going with my brain, I would double up on Spirit. Because the farming potential that exists from G2 without Monesi is kind of ridiculous. It could be like a donk lineup, for example, instead of I mean, I'll actually take a look at what a donk lineup looks like. I think honestly, like a Navi might be a big enough differential in and of itself, you can actually make some pretty decent lineups with the donk here. And if you go for Navi as well, I think. Yeah. Go Navi Ime. 195 is kind of an annoying amount of money. You upgrade Chopper Magics, that would give you Carrigan. Kind of awkward in terms of money. I think I'm just going to go for the Vitality Copium. I think Vitality is fun to maybe as well. So then the first thing that I'm thinking is something like this, I think. Where you do get the Spirit player, you do get JL, your Navi guy, who is maybe the one I want the least in terms of for money. Like, I might like Bit or Wonderful better than JL, honestly, in terms of consistent fragging. But then again, JL is definitely the kind of player who could absolutely pop off. He has those tournaments as well. If I had to pick a player I really want out of these, I think Wonderful is the one, but then money-wise, kind of awkward. I think Bro, you don't want to pick a player who's going to play one of your, like, I don't want to have Bro against Navi in the first round. I also don't Norbert against Vitality. That makes this kind of difficult. I definitely don't want to pick into G2 unless they actually have Monastery, then it becomes more viable. But I'm assuming right now that Monastery is not going to play. That's where all the signs are pointing. If you upgrade this to Mezzi, really makes sense. I don't even know if it's an upgrade, because I really do feel like Apex has very similar fragging output. Go for Bit. Really doesn't work either. So this is the kind of problem here. But I think honestly JL is just the kind of player I can pick here who makes a lot of sense as a Navi asset. Yeah. No, I'm pretty happy with this team. It uses your money perfectly. It lets me root for two of my favorite players in the game. It's still sensible in terms of, I think Vitality definitely can win here in the upper final as well. And then Chopper, I think, is just gonna farm Spirit. I do think the other Spirit players also farm as long as is playing, but we'll see. I think this it's all about Navi here. So in terms of well, we have 3 IGLs, so probably we're gonna have eco-friendly on one of them, IGL on one of them, and support on one of them. I would say, so I can't put IGL on Chopper, and he doesn't have the greatest support. Yeah, I mean, it should be Chopper on eco-friendly probably, then Apex and Alexi, and Apex definitely has worse support. So we go leader on him, support on Alexi. That makes sense. And now it's about JL and Zaiwu. JL probably doesn't have a great role, I have to guess. 42, 155 is the best right now. 33, 7. Triggers 78, 76% of the time, 60% of the time, but to get 12%. Pretty sure I mean, attacker is just better. Let's go for attacker. It's not great for him, but there's no great role for JL. If he pops off, that's probably gonna trigger. But I will probably not op. I mean, trigger 38, 47, 44, 44, 59, 41. Stat Hunter triggers every time at least. That's ridiculous. Defragger, a bit worse. Triggers Stat Hunter. That's a crazy. I don't think I've ever seen 100% trigger rate for this good amount of that might be the best roll seen on someone. One of the best. Okay, is it best of 1 starts? No. Best of 3 all the way makes it quite a lot easier for us. We just go for some of the best boosters and all of K probably gonna be Taiwu. There's gonna be enough games well all the boosters, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I mean, not always, but I'll just throw good boosters on everyone, like boosters that are good on them. Makes us way better, Kobe. Writing to me. Sure, chopper armor. I mean, against cheat. I don't know. The assist. Apex. Pistol. Hard. That was gonna be the best on a lot of these. I can't throw everything on. Date on Alexi. That makes probably gonna be same with cannon fodder. Actually, JL cannon fodder. How does he? I guess he just wins too many. And I don't know. That's weird because you're in. JL's not really an entry. Why is he on fodder so much? Bit interesting. Not great on. They're like Rambo. Assist is something you hear, even though it's better. I think we just JL here. It's still a very good booster for him, and he doesn't have too many great ones. So yeah, that's probably it for this season. At least if we can believe what HLTV said, that this is the last fantasy event for the season. I would believe this. Yeah, it's been a fun season, even though I didn't end up like quite as high as I would have hoped. I was really hoping for the top 10, of course, but you know, there's a lot of luck involved and plan for these things. I'm still very proud of how well I did this season in general. I think I at least showed that this kind of consistent gameplay can work in terms of getting a good amount of points. And we go again next season. If you enjoy this kind of content, please remember to leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you. Goodbye.